You guys know me and that I've been over. Sometimes you got to switch esters. Listen, a lot of people have a difficult time dialing in on Cypionate specifically. I think Enanthete's a little easier for folks. Quicker peak, faster troughs. It's in and out of the system. You don't have to wait as long for it to reach steady state. So dialing in is a tad easier. Obviously, dialing in with prop or cream is a cinch if you know what you're doing and know what to look for and know how to manage your bloods and get them in the right places. But with Cypionate, man, even though we're told 6 weeks until we get steady state, sometimes the steady state doesn't happen at 6 weeks. I mean, you might be looking at week 8 or 9 or so, but at the same time, at the tissue level, the distribution and hormones cannot be measured. And I have a feeling, based on what I've looked at symptom-wise, comparing it to people's bloods, that there's something else happening at the tissue levels, which may even make it take longer. Point is, some people don't have the patience for long esters, and I don't really blame you for not wanting to wait. I mean, if you've got to wait 9 weeks or 10 weeks to get an outcome on estradiol and an outcome to see where sexual function is, it's like, and you could be doing this a lot faster with cream or prop. I understand why it makes you impatient. But here's the bottom line. For those of you that like to change your protocol a lot, number one, you got to be careful because you're going to be in a purgatory of never dialing in if you change it too frequently. But number two, if you make the wrong move and you don't quite understand how long this might take, you're going to sabotage your protocol. So in this video, I want to break down why Testosterone Cypionate, which is the most widely available prescribable ester, just sucks for people that aren't as patient and that are crusading aggressively to try to fix libido problems on TRT. I'm going to show you how to fix those problems and exactly what to expect. If you want to stay on Cypionate, totally fine. You can dial it in, but you've got to know how and how long to wait. Stick around, strap in, grab a beer. Let's do this. All right, on that note, and before we start the video, look, my company, Cortex Labs, is a TRT guidance, sexual dysfunction resolution, and performance optimization company. You got a range of different products mainly relevant to TRT, but right now, probably the most important thing is the coaching one-on-one with me where we fix libido and erection issues on TRT, no matter the ester, with access to everything and me architecting your protocol with you every step of the way. 50% off. Use the code Coach Discount. It saves you thousands of dollars right now. Book me in under a minute. We're on the fact-finding call as soon as tomorrow. If you need access to basically everything you can think of anabolic-wise, test ester-wise, especially the high-potency DHT, which sometimes really helps people to dial in, just get source list. I collected all of the options available on one publicly available list. It's 30% off, codes on the screen. So I think this is sort of a case in point. Let's go over to Reddit, boys. This thread, okay, it's titled, Dropped My Dose a Week Ago. How long before I start noticing a difference? And this guy was in a pretty bad place. Look, 1,500 total T. 1,500, I mean, that's great. That's good. If you can stand it, you can take an AI and get estrogen down. Estrogen, though, 83.6 picograms per milliliter, man. For me, for most of my clients, for most of the people that I know on the planet, that right there is dead Johnson zone. I mean, you're going to have sexual dysfunction there. The question is, how long before I start noticing a difference? Really, how long until libido and erections come back, when estrogen drops? Now, like, this is probably the most accurate answer, but I'm going to infuse kind of my coaching experience into this and show you that it's actually a little longer than this. Stability is found at 5 to 6 times the half-life of an ester. Cypionate's half-life is 7 days. The Men's Health Clinic estimates 35 to 45 days, but I've heard some say up to 8 weeks. 35 days is 5 weeks. 7 times 5, 35. But 45 days is 6.2 weeks, right? 6 times 7 is 42. 8 weeks, though, it's 56 days. It's 56, 180 days is 6 months. It's 56 days. That's 2 straight months. And that is what I found to be accurate, especially as you're reducing your dose of testosterone to get estrogen in range so that you can fix sexual function on TRT. Now, here's the problem. If you're impatient and you do notice some changes after 4 weeks, you're like, okay, things have changed. Estrogen might be where I need it to be. And you don't go run labs, or say you do. and E2 is still high after 4 weeks and you're going, let me just jettison this experiment. Fuck it. I'm going to change the dose. I felt physically better at the higher doses. Maybe I just need to go higher and my body needs to get used to, like some of these assholes are saying on the internet. If you make a reaction, a hasty dose adjustment, you are going to single-handedly screw yourself for the foreseeable future, especially if you increase the dose. I mean, that's not a good idea. I want to make one thing clear. After a dose change, in this context, a dose reduction of testosterone cypionate, blood levels don't instantly drop to the new range. They shift gradually based on the ester's half-life and your injection frequency and how fast you clear estradiol from your body. Half-life of testosterone cypionate, meaning only 50% of it is out. That's not the terminal life. It's the half-life, boys. 7 to 8 days. Right? So 5x that half-life is 35 to 40 days. Now, here's the thing. In 4 to 5 weeks, 5.5 weeks, the testosterone is going to reach right around the steady state. The test itself takes a little shorter to reach the steady state than the estradiol does. But with estradiol, it's different. First 5 to 7 days, you get an initial decline of estradiol. So you might notice, things are like slightly better. I'm feeling a little better. You probably notice a noticeable difference around weeks 2 or 3, possibly 4, like the 2 to 4 week range. You start noticing a difference. This is the point at which you've got to be really careful not to sabotage your protocol. You impatient libido crusaders on test cypionate sabotage your protocol for the next 8 weeks, for the next 10 weeks, for the next 6 fucking months. If after 2 to 3 weeks, you make a change. Full equilibrium of estradiol and test, you're looking at, in my experience, minimum, week 6, and ideally, weeks 8 through 10. Here's the thing that I want to implore people to understand from what I have seen in real life. 6 straight weeks is 42 days. 42 days after you make a dose adjustment, 42 days. But I've seen as much as 8 straight weeks, which is 56 days, have a different result in terms of estradiol sensitive and sexual function than 42 days. Okay, I've seen 56 days have a different reading and different symptoms, like different sexual function status, than 42 days. If you don't understand that and you're an impatient libido crusader on cypionate, you don't have the patience for cypionate, you make a change too early, you start thinking, maybe I need to go to higher doses. Maybe that was it. I just needed to dial in, let my thyroid balance out my estradiol, as if that's even fucking possible. You're going to land in the POND, the purgatory of never dialing in. And that is a purgatory. It's hell. It's hell. Especially if you want to date and you want your dick to work and you want to have libido, you keep switching things. You're never going to dial in. I go through this, to an extent with coaching, and folks just don't understand until I have to enforce to them, like, this is the bottom line. You cannot make ad hoc adjustments. Sometimes the best advice is no advice. It's to leave it alone and let it fix itself. So here's what you do. If you're one of those people that's on a long ester, you're having problems at the higher doses, your estrogen's too high, and you finally believe me, the guy who's at the 5,000 foot view, fuck that. Boots on the ground with men every single day for years. This is what you have to do. Number 1, have the patience, have the discipline, have the standards to wait at least 8 straight weeks. That's 2 months, boys. 2 months from a dose reduction. Yes, that sucks. Maybe you should be taking a different ester if you don't want to wait that long. But if you're going to stick with cypionate, 8 straight weeks. Number 2, remember, estradiol saturates and desaturates at the tissues at different levels than the serum. So the serum is not an accurate surrogate for what's happening at the tissue levels. You could go down and E2 says 32. And by the way, you should probably be at 25, 27. I mean, that's where you're going to get the most sexual function with high DHT, assuming you have high DHT. But at the tissue levels, it's like it could be measured differently. I mean, your tissues might still think you've got 40, 45 picograms per milliliter estradiol. Might hang on to that estrogen, in other words. You might need to wait another week, another 2 weeks. This is why, in terms of inferiority or superiority in the esters, relative to how long it takes you to dial in, cypionate is inferior. And it sucks for people that don't have the patience. Now, if you want to speed that, there is a way to hack this, and this is important. So for folks to understand, okay? Minimum 8 weeks, maybe even 9 weeks, possibly 10 weeks. You just have to have the patience for that because the effect is going to be different as you wait longer. And the sex organs get used to the new level of estrogen. Remember, there's estrogen receptors, there's androgen receptors in the penis, man. And they've got to modulate their response and create an equilibrium in reaction to the new levels of sex hormones. And that sometimes takes time too. If you want to speed this up and you don't want to move to cream or you don't want to move to prop, you're already all in and you're like, all right, let's fucking go to war. I've got the patience for this, but I want to speed it up. Your only option at that point, as to not really muck up your protocol by like taking an AI, wouldn't be to take an AI. It'd be to inject nothing for 7 days straight. If you do that, you're going to rapidly get ahead of where you are right now. You're going to decrease estradiol because then there's still the blood levels of testosterone cypionate that still has a half-life and it's still active, still aromatizing a little bit, but ultimately declining, especially if you've reduced your dose and you've waited 4 weeks and you're not where you want to be. That would be the point at which, if you want to speed it up, you inject nothing for an entire week and deal with the side effects. You're probably going to feel groggy, shitty, tired. You'll have less anabolism. You won't really want to go to the gym. But you could sacrifice a week if you have to, as long as the results aren't catastrophic, like inhibiting your productivity at work and making you an absolute doldrum of a person to be around and you can't get shit done. It is worth taking 7 straight days off, because then you're going to speed that process up by like 2 weeks, maybe 2.5 weeks. I mean, you don't have a constant aromatizable substrate that's entering your blood and being metabolized. Your body's going to start upregulating the clearance of estradiol likely. Then after 7 days, you restart, the new protocol that you had reduced your dose from. Say you went from 160 to 100. You're doing it every day as to prevent estradiol peaks. Then you restart that. That's the only way to get ahead of this process. If you don't want to be patient and give it the full 8 weeks, 10 weeks for some people, just take a week off, deal with the fucking side effects. You're in this, brother. You're in this. And your protocol, unless you're hiring a coach that does this for a living and does this for years, it's in your hands. It's up to you. The tooth fairy, the Easter bunny, God even, is not going to just help you because you're a good boy. Like, it's pharmacokinetics, dude. So take a week off, deal with the side effects. You'll be way far ahead of yourself. When there's no aromatized androgen being injected, that shit drops all of it really, really quickly. Then you resume your new lower dose and you're ultimately going to get there then faster. Now here's the final statement. If you're having a hard time doing that and you don't want to go through that, some people just don't want to go through that. I'm at a period right now where I'd rather not go through that. And I can dial in within 2 weeks on cream or prop because I already know the doses that make sense. Then, brother, it's time to change the ester. Get source list. Go get test prop or get prop from your clinic if they have it. Increasingly it's becoming less available. Talk to your clinic, talk to your contact at your clinic. I want to try 100 milligram per milliliter cream. Okay. That is the shortest stroke, best way, fastest way. As I've said before, cream and HCG, fastest way to dial in on TRT. If you don't want to wait, you want your libido under control. You understand the parameters you need to be at, as I've explained many, many times. With estrogen in range, enough DHT, you go to work with a fast-acting ester. And those of you that are quick to jump to conclusions, quick to want to change, you want to experiment. That's what the short stuff, the fast-acting modalities are for. On cream or prop, changes, when you change the protocol, the results, they happen pretty immediately. I mean, max, you're looking at 2 straight weeks just to give the tissues, time to respond and whatever. Each dose change, 2 weeks. Would you rather wait 2 weeks or would you rather wait 10 weeks, 14 days or 70 days? Keeping in mind that 180 days is 6 fucking months. Come on. Come on. This is the beauty in fast-acting testosterone modalities. Not telling you to go and source some phenylpropionate. Okay, because I'm not really sure. I haven't seen that work really well with TRT. It could work as a libido hack on top of an already stable estrogen baseline. I mean, it definitely works for that. But proper cream. This is why I have been crusading for that. Yes, you could dial in on cypionate. We've got strategies for that. I dial people in on cypionate all of the time because it's just what they have. It's what they want. It's already saturated the cypionate in their body. We don't want to go through the change. But if you can't deal with that, boys, get a prescription for cream or go source some fucking test prop. Recognize Like I said, no one's going to help you unless you're hiring a coach or you've got some good advice. Otherwise, you got a strategic method by which you're, reducing doses and modulating your TRT protocol. No one's going to dial you in. It is up to you. Don't sabotage it by, if you're running Cypionate, not waiting enough time to make a change, or you're going to be in the POND, which is a terribly frustrating place to be. The purgatory of never dialing in. I get those guys all the time. You don't want to be that dude. Have the patience or switch to a fast-acting ester. Okay, if you need to speed the process up with Cypionate, don't inject for a week. Deal with the side effects. You'll be way better off. You'll get down to that lower level a lot quicker, but have the patience to dial in thereafter. Not only do I like, based on what I'm seeing in coaching work, to give you guys actionable advice on how to dial in sexual function on TRT, because that's what we do, I also want to prevent you from making mistakes that prevent you from doing that. And that's what this video is about, boys. Take heed. However, as I said in the beginning, look, if you don't want to go at this alone, this is why people hire me for 3 months, 6 months, a year at a time. I've just been through this over the last many years, every day of my life. With clients, coaching is 50% off. It's not just me saying, hey, yeah, you should do this, buddy. I'm your coach, buddy. I'm a serious individual that is results driven. It's full protocol architecture. Everything that I've seen over the years infused into your protocol. You can sit back, relax, just execute and report. And I promise, regarding sexual function, libido, erections, we'll get you dialed in. This is not rocket science. It's not an art either. It's not a willy-nilly thing. It's a science. You can hire me in under a minute at livecortex.com for a month, 3 months, 6 months, or a year. Right now, though, thousands of dollars off on the discount. Use the code COACHDISCOUNT. You will watch thousands of dollars reduce from the price. The coaching packages you've been eyeing, they're now in reach. Book livecortex.com. We're in the fact-finding call as soon as tomorrow, and then we start. Brothers, source list. Again, if you need to get prop. You need to get prop. You need to get DHT gel, the 20% stuff, the 10% stuff, any peptide you can think of, any anabolic you can think of, all the erectogenic stuff, any AI you can think of, fertility stuff, anything you can think of. Sourceless, just grab it, livecortex.com. 30% off. Code is down in the description of this video and on the screen. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for watching. We have reached the conclusion of the video. Please do me a favor. Just just. What's wrong with this chair? Like the video! Come on! It's free to do. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Yeah, please hit the like button. It makes a huge difference, honestly. It's what tells YouTube to, through the algorithm, send our content out to people that desperately need it. Otherwise, sub to the channel, 35,000 subscribers and growing, one of the fastest growing TRT channels that talks about, from a scientific perspective, how to resolve libido and erection issues on TRT. I'd love to have you on board as a subscriber. Otherwise, kick ass, rock on, enjoy the rest of your week. More content coming every day this week, so look out for it. Coaching, again, 50% off. That's going away soon. Book me, livecortex.com. And I'll talk to you boys on the next one.
How can I break when I have no heart to be broken? If this is the end, when will it begin? Is there a way to live again? How can I dream if I was never awakened? How can it still hurt when I can feel